Listen, spite for the person that can handle it can ride that shit like a rocket, and it'll never let you down. You'll never run out of spite either.
No, you won't. I don't know if it's good, but but I can't. When I was starting out, I can't tell you how many times I would call Dave Becky and go, "Why the fuck is that guy doing that? Who the fuck is that guy? He got it? How the fuck did that guy get that?" But ultimately, my spite, it never paid off. Like, I ended up turning things around in my fucking garage. So I was never great at the spite,
Well, listen, you and I don't really know each other. I saw you at the airport one time. We were always cordial to each other.
You gave me a lift.
But I did give you a lift up.
Yeah, you saw me at the airport. You're like, get in the car.
Come on back in the car, dude. When the president did your show, I was so proud of you, man. As a comedian, as somebody in the trenches, I said, man, that's beautiful. Man.
Yeah, it was something else, man. He came over to my house. Thanks, buddy. And thanks for the ride. Yeah. I didn't know.
You're welcome, bro.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah. But what was the big turning point, though? You're making good money. You're married. That's going all right, I guess. When did my wife had a friend that was an agent at Ed LaMotto's agent, big agent. She was like the secretary, and she called. I was living in a condo on Barham, maybe 1999, and she says to me, there's somebody that wants to see you. He was working on this project with this producer. It's kind of hush hush. He wants to come and see you Friday at the Ice House. I go to Ice House on Friday. I see him. I'm drinking on stage. I'm like, maybe this isn't the right thing to do for a showcase, but I'm killing them. They're laughing. I'm drinking on stage. He leaves, and I don't see him. And I'm like, where did this guy go? I don't know who you were looking for. A year later, almost to the month, I get a call, and he says to me, "Are you still interested in this idea?" I'm like, dude, I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. What idea? My producing partner and I have an idea that you could be interesting for. Well, we found out it was Sandra Bullock, and Sandra Bullock came to see me at the Brea Improv. Imagine getting Sandra Bullock to leave her house above Marmont, up there by where Jimmy Kimmel lives, and to drive the 65 miles to the Brea Improv to sit there on a Thursday to watch me. And she did. And I said, follow me. And as she was following me, I kept waiting to see those headlights just veer off. Well, this is too fucking far. Yeah.
And she came and she saw me, and we had a meeting, and we started to have more meetings, and that became my show.
And that show, I don't think people realize that, it went into syndication and almost became bigger in syndication. Right?
It became bigger in syndication. Yeah, it was up against American Idol like the last 3 years. People love that show. Nickelodeon picked it up. My goal ultimately, when we started to do the show and it looked like we might syndicate, my goal for me personally was to get the number for syndication. We were at 120, but also to be in production and syndication at the same time. And the only reason the show didn't come back is allegedly the president of ABC at that time was having relations with several actresses, and his decisions were not based on performance of shows, but they were based on where he could put these particular people into shows, allegedly. And then 2 years go by. The guy is now a winemaker, sends me a case of wine with a card that says, I know you're upset with me. We haven't talked. If you get a chance, give me a call. I called him, and he apologized for not picking my fucking show up. And I'm like, what good does that do me now?
You fuck.
We were telling you that shit 2 years ago.
So that spite didn't go away.
No, I was doing my talk show at that time. So, as long as there's somebody out there with an axe to grind and they make a move on me, I'll always be successful.
But the thing is that like the George Lopez show, it was doing all right. You're on a lot of years, right?
Yep.
But then, it was one of those things where in syndication it picked up a whole new audience of young people, I guess. And then,
absolutely.
And so, is that where you really became? Because I'm just curious. Because I watched the new special. We'll do it for half. I just watched it.
Yep.
And it's pretty clear that you're one of these people. You're kind of an inspiration and a role model and a guy who speaks to the Latino community in a very personal way. So I imagine that groundwork got laid with the George Lopez show, right?
Right. It's funny that, when I first started to show up,
My wife had a higher opinion of me when we were married than when we were divorced. And she was
usually how it works. That's usually how it works.
Yeah. Don't kid yourself. You were a draw. Like I only worked on the west side of Texas and over here. So all of that stuff was new. And in the beginning, I wasn't political at all. And as I started to look at things in the community and I started to have a voice in specials, and I started to take on politicians and politics, that I started to lose a lot of people who would say of any particular color that they liked me before I got political.
Right.
And then, with the wall that we did 2 years ago in DC live with all the Trump stuff, really became a wedge through, both sides where people would, send me messages and threaten my life, all anonymous too, by the way.
Sure.
So, I didn't grow up the toughest dude, but anybody who threatens my life anonymously is more than welcome to come and threaten me when I'll tell them where I am. Like that shit don't scare me.
Well, do you find are you finding that like within the Latino community, there's a because it seems like there's definitely two types of Latino voters. I mean,
there's three types. There's the type that vote, and there's a type that are Republican who look down on everybody, and then there's a type that could give a fuck, and then there's another type that aren't citizens and they can't vote. So, I would always say that it's up to us who can vote to be a voice for the workers that can't vote.
Right.
So those things became clear when you look at December, they're putting people in camps, and then in the middle of April, they consider all of the farm workers the essential workers. Listen, nobody wants to do that shit for fun or for profit. It's a fucking hard job to do. And instead of being ridiculed and rounded up when you're taking your kids to school, they ought to show some respect that they show up every day and not only feed your family, but they feed themselves too. They got to feed their own family too.
Yeah, and then they're being used as pawns by, these monsters. And
I became the guy that talked a lot of shit that, hey, you made quite a success for yourself in this country. And if you don't like it here, stop bitching and fucking go back to Mexico. I'm fourth generation. I'm not from Mexico, and I really don't even know anybody in Mexico.
No, have you ever been there?
Yeah, I've been there. But I bought a house in Hawaii in the 2004 through 12. I lived in Hawaii, and they say, why wouldn't you buy a house in Mexico? And I'm like, Mexicans? If you go up around them, why the fuck you want to fucking go vacation around them? I wanted to get away from them.
Which island did you have a house on?
In Lanai, before Larry Ellison bought it.
Oh, it's nice.
He bought my house, man. It's like, we're trying to sell this. I got divorced. I have this huge ass house, 12,000 square foot house in Hawaii that, I got left in the separation. I got that house, paying all these property taxes. I'm going over, bringing my friends, beautiful house. And when Larry Ellison buys the island, I thought, where's this guy going to live? Boom. Bought my house. He was kinder than TBS. He's like, TBS was like, you got 36 hours to get the fuck out of here. Larry Ellison at least gave me 48 to make a decision.
Yeah. You did good though.
Did good.
When did you get sick, man?
I got sick. It's funny because, I was born with narrow ureters, which I found later was a case of being born early. The ureters didn't, develop properly. So,
what are ureters? What are ureters?
The ureters were from the bladder, the tubes that take the urine from the bladder through the kidney and out, so you can urinate. Okay. They were narrow.
Uh-huh.
And what it did was it made me have to go to the bathroom a lot.
Yeah.
But then if I held it in, which I did a lot, you're backing that urine into your kidneys and you're poisoning yourself.
Oh.
That's why when kids hold it, you're really backing. That was years of holding that urine back into my kidneys, which damaged them. And then it wasn't, much like D.L. Hughley, feigning on stage that he found out that he had, COVID.
Yeah. Maybe
if he doesn't feign on stage and he gets lightheaded in a hotel or at home, he probably wouldn't think that that's COVID. He probably would have thought, I'm traveling again.
Right.
Haven't been eating.
Yeah.
So in a way, it may have been the best thing that happened to him was to know early. With me, I was already on the road, just feeling horrible, bent over, and I couldn't understand why my back hurt. That was all kidney disease.
Oh my God.
So I was grinded, man. It was crazy.
Holy shit. So you were still married and how'd you talk your wife out of a kidney?
No, it's funny, when I found out I had advanced kidney disease, it's almost like in the movies, like you and I are talking, but you could see her sitting in a chair between us.
Yeah.
And the doctor comes in. He's like, hey, I don't know how to tell you this, man, but you got advanced kidney disease, and you're going to need a kidney by the time you're 30. You're 45. I was 38. And she's there, and she's like, I'll give you one of mine. And I'm like, fucking relax.
Yeah.
You just can't give kidneys to somebody without being tested. She was the only one tested. She was a perfect match. Her mother, God rest her soul, wasn't sure if she should do it.
Yeah.
So her and I had a conversation about if she wanted to and if she didn't want to. I didn't feel like she should have. I said, I'll leave it up to you, and she did. Saved my life. And, I was very disingenuous to her, but in reality, it cost me a lot of money anyways to get married and divorced in California. But if there's anything that I do appreciate out of all my spite and all the fact that I talk a lot of shit about people and even was disrespectful to her, which I should not have been, was that I'm very thankful that after 15 years that she allowed me to, continue my life. The same person that saved my life really made me want to fucking kill myself, but that's life, I guess.
It's good she let you keep the kidney in the divorce.
Oh, everybody's like, you're going to give her back the kidney. Fucking imagine going to get coffee in the morning and some lady says, I think you're a fucking asshole for getting divorced for your wife to get a kid. I said, lady, it's like 6:45 in the morning,
Did you get that kind of shit?
Oh, man, yes.
People were mad at you?
They were mad at me, man. But, I don't know. Do you stay together for the sake of somebody,
Yeah, because they gave you a kidney?
We had a huge fight one time, and she says, you should thank me every day for the way that you feel. And, that's why they don't want donors to meet, because you could lay that guilt on somebody in a relationship. And I said, listen, if I could, I'd put my fist in my ass, pull it out of my asshole, and throw it right back at you. So that's how bad it gets right before you think, maybe I should be living in this house.
Yeah, it's weird that you do but you have no choice but to be grateful underneath it all.
Nobody gave me a chance. You talk about in the beginning, there's a lack of appreciation that I didn't get until I got older, when I started to really become grateful for people who invested in me.
Yeah.
And, and she was part of that. Divorce is contentious, there's a kid involved, but, I mistook that anger for the respect that I should have shown her for saving my life.
Yeah, I didn't have kids, but my second divorce completely bankrupted me, and I fucking hated her, and I hated her lawyer, but she got me sober, and I always give her credit for that. And I used to thank her for it. Every year, I just, and she hated me, man. I'd send her this email. I'm like, I just want to, thank you again. It's my anniversary. I got another year sober thanks to you. And then finally, just a couple years ago, she finally just said, if I want to hear from you, I'll let you know. Like, all right. That's done then.
Yeah. There's no dissension like divorce dissension.
No shit, dude.
Even if you say, just go say hello. It's like, no, we hate each other. Just fucking go say hello.
Yeah. No good.
Like, no
good. It's not going to go anywhere. So the TBS show, are you? How's your spite level about that in retrospect?
They were afraid, man. Coonan and whatever that guy, White, whoever was the thing. They thought they wanted to get in business with me. We told them we were going to do what we did. They made Conan's side, or his people made TBS believe that if they didn't sign Conan, they were going to lose him to Fox. Masterful move. Yeah. So he comes in. I blame Jay Leno. Jay Leno should have lost the Tonight Show and, like a man, taken his millions and walked away. That 10 o'clock show put me in a position where I was going to lose my show. Conan was the host of the Tonight Show. Fucking Jay Leno goes there at 10 o'clock. Conan looks bad. Conan gets fired from the Tonight Show, comes over to TBS. I moved to midnight, and this all happens because fucking Jay Leno couldn't just take his $1 million checks and stay off TV.
So you blame Jay?
I don't blame him, but if he had just taken his hit like a man and not cock block and go to 10 p.m., dude, you had the Tonight Show at 11:30. You mean you're going to do a show at 10 p.m.? Give Conan a chance to succeed or fail on his own without you at 10 o'clock.
So, you're not mad at Conan, though?
No, man, we're cool. I'm not mad at anybody. You know,
Yeah.
I have little to complain about. It may appear, but